Hey everyone, so here's the smartboard that the in-person students will be working on. So the learning target is I can apply my knowledge of a segment and angles to determine the bisector. So here's the do now. So I am just going to go over the do now with you guys. So it's given that the measure of angle BEA equals 3x plus 5 and the measure of QRP is 5x minus 25. If the angle is BEA and QRP are supplementary, determine the value of x algebraically. So here, what we're going to do is, if it's supplementary, then we know that they equal 180. So I'm going to set this equation equal to 180, and I'm going to solve. So I get 8x minus 20 equals 180. I'm going to add 20. 8x equals 200, and I'm going to divide by 8, and I'm going to get x equals 25. So x equals 25 is the value of x. It doesn't say to find the other measures or the angle, so I don't need to plug it in. So I'm done, and I'm going to move on to the next problem. All right, so we have some definitions. So midpoint of a segment. The midpoint of a segment is a point that divides the segment into two congruent segments. So that means that I am dividing my segment in half. Okay, and each side equals the same number. So if one side equals 5, the other side equals 5. A segment bisector is a line, ray, or segment that intersects a segment at its midpoint. It is said to bisect the segment. So here, line L bisects AC, it cuts it in half. If you notice these little dashes, that means that they're congruent. So I can say that AR is congruent, or is that B? Sorry guys. AB is congruent to CB. Okay, because there's a segment bisector. So let's look at this problem. It says, if Q is the midpoint of PR, find the values of X, PQ, RQ, and PR. The second that it says midpoint, I know that 7x minus 16 needs to equal 4x plus 2. So that means I'm going to set them equal to each other. Okay, so when I see midpoint, I'm thinking I'm going to set them equal to each other. I'm going to subtract 4x. And I'm going to add 16. So I get x equals 6. So I answered x equals 6. So when you see midpoint, you set them equal together. Now I want to find PQ, RQ, and PR. So I'm going to start with PQ. So PQ is 7x minus 16. So I'm going to plug in 6. When I do that, I get 42 minus 16. 42 minus 16. And then I get 26. Now, if I did this right, then RQ should also be 26. So 4x plus 2. 4 times 6 plus 2, 24 plus 2, 26. Good. So now the last thing I need to figure out is PR. So how do I find PR? I add 26 plus 26, and I get 52. And that's PR because PR is the whole entire line. So I take my 26 and I add my other 26 to it. So that's if you have a line segment. Okay, and you have a midpoint, you set them equal to each other. Now, angle bisector. Angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. The end point is at the vertex. So if I had this diagram written in words, it would tell me BD bisects angle ABC. So it's telling me that BD is cutting angle ABC in half. Okay, so that means that angle ABD, or measure of angle ABD, is going to be equal to the measure of angle DBC. So let's put that into problem. So BX is a bisector of angle ABC. So that means that this angle is going to be equal to that angle. And if you look, that means congruent, okay? So those means congruent angles. So ABX is 5x, and XBC is 3x plus 10. So we do the same exact things if we had a line segment, okay? We're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to set them equal to each other. 5x equals 3x plus 10. And now I'm going to solve. So I get x equals 5. So if it just asks me to solve for x, then I would be done. But it doesn't. It also asks me to solve for the measure of ABC. So the measure of ABC is this whole entire thing. So I'm going to plug 5 into 5x, and I get 25. And then I'm also going to just plug it in to my 3x plus 10. I also get 25, which means I did something correct. So if each of these parts equals 25, then my whole is going to equal 50. So the measure of angle ABC equals 50 degrees. Now, let's look at the next one, because the next one's a little different. If ABC, the whole entire thing, equals 5x plus 18, and we have CBX equals 2x plus 12, then we want to find the value of x and the measure of ABC. But I don't know what ABX is, okay? They didn't tell me. But what they did tell me is that there's a bisector, and BX is the bisector. So that means that it's cutting it in half. So whatever one part of the angle is, then the other part of the angle must also be the same. So that means that they must also be 2x plus 12. So 2x plus 12 plus 2x plus 12 equals 5x plus 18. I'm going to combine my terms, so I get 4x plus 24 equals 5x plus 18. I'm going to subtract 4x. I get 24 equals x plus 18. Subtract 18. So x equals 6. And then it says, can you find the total angle ABC right here? So that means I'm going to plug in 6 to here. And I get 30 plus 18, which is 48. So the measure of angle ABC equals 48 degrees. Okay, so what did we do? So all we did was we learned really what bisector and midpoint is, and they mean basically the same thing. Okay, a midpoint of a segment cuts the segment in half. A bisector of a line or of an angle cuts it in half, and we set them equal to each other. So after you're done watching this video, what you're going to do is there is a Google form, okay? So the kids in class are going to be working on this in class and submitting it. So I want you guys, since you're at home, you're going to work on these, and then there's a Google form for you to put your answers, okay? Once again, me and Miss Mackenzie are available at 2 o'clock today, okay? So if you have any questions, reach out. Thank you.